Hi guys. My name is Lungile Mbata. Um, I'm just going to share this video and share some information on my journey. As a lot of people have been asking some questions, and so feel like let me kind of like give an update from the first video that I recorded. So if you are coming across this video for the first time and you don't know the background story, I basically have a scoliosis. So I had a dislocation of hip when I was 11 years of age. And normally the question will be, what happened? Were you in an accident or what? So I was never in an accident. It's something that happened when I was 11 years of age. So I just went to bed, and the next day I was limping. So it was kind of a roller coaster, and it was like everyone didn't know what happened. So we had to, my parents had to just go around trying to get help, which didn't materialize. So it so then I was working with the limp ever since I was 11. I'm currently 34, and then I had challenges a lot in terms of pain over the years. So I had to do a total hip replacement. They had to remove my whole left hip and put an artificial hip. Um, so with the hope that I was going to be okay and be able to walk normally, but it didn't happen. Unfortunately, I have my legs are not equal, so I have a long leg, and then I have a short leg. So that limping as well led to me having a scoliosis. So basically, scoliosis is me having a curve on my spine. So my spine is not straight. That simply means even myself, I can't stand straight. So scoliosis actually pain started when I was just immediately after my op. I did my op in December 2012, and then early in 2013 I started having pain. I was going through healing process because after the operation for 6 weeks you are not allowed to do anything, go out or whatever. You not allowed to go to work, not allowed to go to malls and everything like that. So I had that 6 weeks, and then after that I had another long 4 5 months of me walking with a crutch. In that At that time I had to do exercises with the physio just to strengthen the muscles and all those things. So that's where I started experiencing back pain, and I had to go back to my orthopedic surgeon to say I'm struggling with back pain. And then that's where it was like I was told that okay, I have a scoliosis, that and that and that. But the curve, according to the x-ray, it was not too much for them to opt for an operation. Also, my doctor really loved me because I was young. I think I was the youngest patient, so he was like kind of like very careful. So he had to go to a spine specialist on my behalf, and then they spoke about it, and then he came back to tell me, you know what, we're not going to do an operation. Then it's always like exercises are recommended. So I had a really struggle a lot after that, because it was like each and every year um, I'm experiencing different struggles, with the back issue. So we're starting by not being able to carry heavy things, struggles with doing washing, struggles with cleaning, you just can't take it. Um, so you can't definitely walk long, you can't sit for long. I can't tie my shoelaces, I can't cut my nails on my feet. Like the kind of different challenges is that I face. So sometimes it leads to me not wearing sneakers because it's a struggle, or sometimes you just get tired by taking a bath and getting dressed. It's like you just did some huge labor work. So also having to use public transport. It was also very hectic. Sometimes you're coming back from work and then you have a long queue at Brie that you need to stand on. Some people don't understand, especially because I'm not on crutches or anything like that. So sometimes people, especially if I'm standing, you wouldn't tell that I have a partial disability. And then sometimes people don't understand. So in most cases, all the time, I normally just stand in queues because also like don't want to explain myself as to why. Sometimes some of the taxi drivers, when they see me limping, they'll be like, don't stand, go in front. And then when they say that, then I would go in front. But other than that, I just don't do it, because I just don't like explaining myself. And also I had very bad experience during COVID when I would go to the shop and then I would have to explain myself to the people who felt like I didn't have a disability when they were looking at me just standing there. So like I would just like, what, let me just stand. And then doing all those things, definitely you'll have consequences where you'll have to deal with a pain later on the day and all those things. So I've had a really, really, really physical struggle that led me to depression, because I was living with constant pain, and the fact that it was not getting better, but instead it would get worse. I will experience new different pain. Lately I'm having issues with my knees, sometimes my ankles. So it's like now I'm dealing with a whole lot of different things. And it was a different thing when I was just dealing with my hip. And then from my hip I had a hip and I had a spine, and then from there I'm having knees problems, I'm having wrist problems, where sometimes I can't even carry my phone. So it's been a roller coaster. At some point, my GP, okay, my GP was not there. The other GP that was there, we tried to check some other type of arthritis, and then we didn't find anything. So at some point, my GP told me that I have osteoarthritis, so which is like a type of arthritis where a cartilage between the bones wear out. So when it wear out, once it is finished, then the bones start hitting each other. And unfortunately, there is no treatment for that. There is no cure. So you just wait for it to progress. Definitely diet can be recommended where you just try and eat something that won't gravitate the arthritis and all those things, of which I think I've started trying to do that, because I'm just trying to meet myself halfway. And it's been it's been it's been crazy. So basically today I just want to answer where I am, where I am, physically and mentally. um there's a program which is called Back and Neck. I did it in 2021 and it was really, really like amazing and brilliant. It did a whole lot of difference in terms of pain, because I had constant pain like each and every day when I wake up in the morning. Like I need to hear a pain in my spine, and then I know that okay, we are awake. Let's see what we do today. And also I have to rate the pain. So I know, I can handle this one today, I can handle this, I can handle this I cannot handle, and all those things. Because also I was trying to avoid taking medication every day. So I had to try and like, what, at this level, let me ignore the pain, let me pretend like it's not here and whatnot and whatnot. So yeah, I did the program really in 2021 and I was amazed because I was doing it for the first time. So you see a physio which works on your back, and then you see a biokinetic which just do some exercises with you. The only challenge we had with the bio especially was that I started having knee problems, like having knee pain. And then things like squats I couldn't do because I couldn't go down and come back because of the knee. So the physio tried working on that knee, the pain will go and come back. Um, Last year I didn't attend the program, and then around December I had really challenges with my physical health. I had swollen feet. um I would struggle with the knee, like to a point that because I was at my sister's place, so they only went to have one step, and I wouldn't be able to go through like this, so I had to use the side to go up and down the step. That how challenging it was with my knee. And then I had a new pain because for the past few years I have a new pain every year. So I have a new pain on my right hip, very hectic pain from the top of the bum going straight to my ankle. That was hectic. I really didn't enjoy December that much. So the new pain really, it's painful when it hits. So when it hits, I struggle walking at all. I can't put one foot forward because I use mostly my right side of the body a lot to compensate for the left side that is weak in terms of muscle strength. So now when the right one is also not okay, then it's a struggle. So I have to use a crutch, to move around the house. When the pain comes, it comes and goes. So because of that, I had to see my orthopedic surgeon. I remember I texted them very late or early Jan to say, as soon as you open, please contact me. It's very urgent, and they did. And then we had to go for X-ray in somewhere mid-Jan. So it was checking the spine, checking the right hip and the knee, because I was kind of like very scared, because I thought my hip was dislocating, and it was like kind of like very stressful and traumatic for me to even think about me having to go through another operation. And the hip operation was very painful. The healing process was very painful. I remember like the first day where I had to get out of bed. It was not nice, and I always feel like that whole process really traumatized me, because every time physiotherapists tell me that I will redo my hip after years, because I'm young and whatnot. It always traumatized me when I look back and think about the pain that I had to experience during the healing process. So I had that fear, I had anxiety. I started asking myself questions that if the other hip is dislocating, what would be of me? What's gonna happen? How am I gonna take it? Will I be able to survive this time around? To survive the depression and all these things. So by the grace of God, the results came back, and then it was like, okay, the hip is okay. There's nothing happening there, but there's a nerve on the spine that is just causing all the pain and everything like that. So what is recommended? Exercise, and also they suggested water exercise. I'm very scared of water, unfortunately. So fine, we did the physio program again this year, and unfortunately I don't think the results are the same, because in 2021 when I did the program, I had probably a 6 months period where I didn't have pain. But with this one, I think I finished late last month, but I have been having a bit of struggle with my right hip, and when it hit, I struggled to walk, I struggled to bend. So if it happened, like sometimes it happens because probably I was cleaning and overworked myself, and then when it hit, you can't even like do anything at that point in time. You just like, okay, let me just rest. So I feel like, I'm back again to that space of me having to take pain medication now and again, you know. And so with all the challenges, I'm only left with an option of going for the water exercises just to try and strengthen my muscles, with the hope that um, as soon as I have more strength on my muscles, I'll be able to have a better kind of in life and experience, because when I'm not okay physically, I'm then happen to kind of be not okay mentally, because it really hits different when you can't do things for yourself, where you're hungry but you can't cook or you can't do all those things. So that's where I am. Hopefully, water exercise will work for me. And yeah, so the GP that I saw for when I went for the program, because you see a doctor first before you see a physio and then biokinetic. So the doctor was disputing the arthritis type that they say I had, and I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna argue, because at the end of the day, it doesn't change the situation. It doesn't take away the struggles that I have, especially with my right wrist. I have a lot of challenges with it as well. Also with my it's left wrist and my right knee. I have kind of like challenges with that, and definitely the nerve on the back that is pressing on the right hip. It's been quite hectic, and also the program always like makes me understand how much of tension I have on my back. Those physio sessions are not nice at all, because there is always tension and tense in the back, and it's very painful for when they are releasing it out. So that's where I am. I'm still gonna do the program again next year. I don't have a choice, I have to do it. But definitely I think I need to kind of like get more help regarding the nerve on the spine, because it's really like hitting differently, and it's really not nice. It's not nice waking up every morning and you're not feeling well. It's not nice just struggling to do a simple thing like washing dishes, um like doing washing or cooking, you know. So yeah, so let's talk about mental. Where am I? I was admitted in 2021 around October. Um, so I was diagnosed in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and from there, I stopped medication, Andre, because of my psychiatrist. I felt very offended when she told me that I should be grateful that I can walk, because that people can't walk. And at that point in time, I felt like, yo, this person is invalidating my pain. Me being able to walk doesn't necessarily mean I don't have these other struggles that I'm going through. And I think my GP has been very supportive. He's been the one person that always tell me that it's okay for you to reach that state mentally, because of the things that you have to go through on a daily basis. So from 2021 October, I've been on depression medication, and so it's a taboo topic, because people there's a stigma to it. We have associated it with being crazy. We have associated it with having less faith. We have associated the disease with one being weak, um, with one being unable to handle life challenges. That's why you reach that point of being depressed. And then I feel like we have lost a lot of people, because of the stigma. It just reminds me of the time when HIV came, how many people we lost, also because of that, because people couldn't go out, they couldn't go to the clinic, they couldn't do this because this person will know and that. So I feel like it's the topic that we need to talk about more, because people are going through it. People have depression and they don't treat it because they don't want to admit to having it, or all those things. So I feel like we need to have more of these conversations so that people can be helped. I've received a lot of positive feedback from people who have followed my journey through my statuses, either on Twitter or WhatsApp or Facebook. We have just opened up to say I have depression and I'm okay with having it, because um sometimes I sit and look back and I'm like, did I really, really go through that and survive that? You're not safe outside. People have this thing of just commenting, because they just comment. They feel like they need to comment. I don't know, sometimes if they feel like I'm too beautiful to be limping, and then they'll just have comments, man, and then you like, okay, let me just stay in the house and not go outside, because outside you have to deal with people who really just don't understand that certain things you just let them, because you don't know what led to one to limp. So if it's a traumatic experience, you can't just ask me why. So my mental journey has been kind of like a roller coaster. Um, lately, I've been feeling very, very, very overwhelmed. I've had a lot of depressive episodes. So I've always say I'm grateful because I know when I'm not well. I know the symptoms that I normally have. Like, I can differentiate just me having a headache because I'm hungry, or when I'm having a depression headache. Um, I just know like my jaws also like get hard sometimes, and then also I struggle with sleep even though I sleep with sleeping tablets. So when I'm not okay, or I'm in a kind of like relapsing phase, I'm able to tell. So the tricky thing with depression, sometimes you just don't know what's wrong. You don't know what triggers you. There is a quote that I one came across on the internet where it says depression, it's like a bruise, it's like you just need to be careful around it. There's no winning. You don't, like, it's like you can't fully say you have won the battle, because it just comes and goes. You just need to know what triggers you, what doesn't trigger you, and how to be run around things that triggers you. It's been a roller coaster. um for the past month, actually, my GP had to supplement my sleeping tablets, which they ended today. It's Thursday, so the last tablet was on Tuesday. So yesterday I didn't have the supplement sleeping tablet, and I didn't sleep well, because and my psychiatrist, I'm gonna see my psychiatrist on the 30th of October. So it's like a road going to KZN. Like it goes like hills that curves, and the all these things that you can just come across. It's really, really it's a roller coaster. um there's also like these two questions. where people ask me or people are concerned about me getting married or being in a relationship. I think I've been single since 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And also people, like, when are you having a baby? I used to say my daughter's name would be Liema. And I used to call myself Liema's mom for quite a long time. So, I've in this journey, my journey with my physical and my mental health, I've realized, Guti, I don't have much choices sometimes. Um, Sometimes certain decisions I need to consider these two things before I make them. For an example, applying for a job, looking for a job outside the job that I have, it's a struggle because I feel like I fought to be in the comforts that I am at work in terms of me working from home. It has also played a huge role on my health, because every year I will run out of sick leave, I will run out of annual leave. Like basically for years I didn't take annual leave. Like I would hardly go on leave because I would use my annual leave for sick leave as a sick leave. So it's like those are the things that I have to consider when I'm looking for a job, thinking, okay, if I get another job, that means I have to go to work every day. And how will that impact me traveling every day to go to work? And I think it's just hard having to explain yourself because it all feels like starting from scratch. I wanted to move to Pretoria, but when I was there in Pretoria, I realized that that simply means I need to change my psychiatrist, I need to change my GP, and I feel like I was not ready mentally to do that. I was not ready to start from scratch, having to have a new psychiatrist, because when you go for therapy with a new psychiatrist, you must go like start from scratch, giving them the background so that they can understand you better. And those are kind of scenarios where it makes me feel like I really, really don't have, like, as much as I have choices, but also my choices are limited because whatever decision that I make, I need to consider my health. I need to consider how many people will be around me, how many people will be able to assist me from where I will be. So having to go to Pretoria, being far from my aunt, it would have been also a really, really challenging journey. And also, I don't like people carrying that burden of having to come and assist me, especially my friends, because I feel like they don't have to. So it's those things that you do have choices, but your choices are limited because you have to consider your health prior to making certain decisions about your growth. 2019 I registered and I had to do register because I couldn't handle work and school. At the same time, my spine couldn't handle pressure. So I started being sick because I was not resting enough and all those things. So I had to drop out of school. So those are the things that also push me to having the mental health issues, because like life is so just limited and there's not so much growth in terms of career because you are kind of like not being able to go back to school and study and work at the same time. So I think I can date if that happens, but I don't think I'm mentally ready for that. Um, so the child part, I know probably a lot of people that know me will not like this part of the conversation. So some years back, My GP was not around. I think he was on leave. So I find this other GP. So we we had a chat. Most they go through the file, just so that they can understand the patient. So the first thing he said, definitely after greeting, was like, "You had a hip replacement," and I'm like, "Yeah." So we're just having that conversation. And then he was like, "Do you know that when you pregnant, you'll have to give birth via C-section and what. Like, yeah, I think I've thought about that, and knowing my body and what my body can do, it's something very that I knew would see if I were to be pregnant, I'll have to give birth via C-section, um, because my hip won't stretch that far. So we had that conversation and it was good. And I hardly have those conversations, especially with my GP or anyone for that matter. It's those conversations that you just have in your head and you're like, okay. So after that, I met him again. So I was like, because we had the conversation before, we had another conversation where I was like, okay, let's leave the C-section part. Now I want to talk about the pregnancy. If I were to be pregnant, um, how will my back be? Because I'm already having back problems. I have chronic back pains. So with the heaviness and all those things and whatnot. So he was very honest with me in saying, I won't have an easy pregnancy. I will probably be on sick bed by the 6th or 7th month, and all those things. So it's like, okay. So that conversation, I had to take it home to myself and have like a more conversation about myself in terms of Uguti, do I want that? Do I want to go through that just to be called someone's mother? You know, um, it goes back to the point we're talking about, to say choices are just limited. You are just somehow in a box where you just need to make like serious decisions. And then from there, I had to talk about it with I had to talk about this with my psychiatrist. And then I realized that probably a lot of you will disagree with me, but I realized that I'm not fit to mother someone. Also, I felt like um okay, I don't want to get emotional. I felt like I don't want to go through that pain just to be called someone's mother. And then I realized that I'm also sleeping with tablets at night. So how am I gonna be able to take care of the kid? I think a lot of people that have kids and those who probably were around people with kids, they know most how being a mother is, and having to constantly wake up in the middle of the night and what. And unfortunately, I take sleeping tablets and then I sleep until the next day. So we started having those conversations to say that even beside the physical struggles, there's also mental struggles, where I will have to be at a certain level mentally for me to be able to be anyone's mother. So I think I've reached a point where I feel like I'm not gonna be anyone's mother. And it's not because it was a nice decision for me to make. It's not like I grew up not wanting that. I think I always believed that I was going to be the best mother in the world, but at this point and at this state of my health, I feel like I'm not going to go through that process. because I feel like it's just gonna be a lot for me to go through it physically and mentally. I really don't think it's worth it for me to. I think I've experienced the worst things with my spine and everything like that. Like for an example, from 2021, when I started taking medication, I started eating a lot, especially at night, because of the medication. Like, they would make me eat a lot at night. Like, I would wake up in the middle of the night and eat with my eyes closed and go back to bed and sleep. I started gaining weight, and I was like, I was in a position where I need to choose between my physical health and my mental health, because I'm not allowed to gain weight. And I think they told me when I was wearing size 30, or if not 32, where I was told, you know what, don't gain weight from here. I remember having artificial hips, so it was measured from the weight that I had at the time. But then I had to gain. I gained weight, and I had to choose between my mental health and my physical health. And then at that time, I chose my mental health because I needed to be okay mentally. And then if it means I'm gaining weight, then let me gain weight. So I gained weight like every 2 months, probably like every 2 months, to a point that I stopped buying clothes, because I would buy them and then next 2 months I'm not wearing those things. I started having more challenges. I think the only two people I've told this. I started having challenges even wiping myself in the toilet because of the weight. That's why I had to embark on the weight loss journey. And I think I've been doing well, and I'm very proud of that step, and just trying, to meet my health halfway. Hopefully by next year I'll have like the recommended weight. Even the physio told me to lose weight because I'm straining my body when I'm at this weight. I think I was wearing size 36. I don't know what I'm wearing at this point in time, but I did lose a bit. So it's really not easy having to try and balance these two things. And also, with mental health, they will tell you to go out more, which is good sometimes, just going out, having some fresh air. But also, I have to build that stamina of not being offended by what people say. And also, it's like the struggle also is that you are also limited to activities outside. So it makes me avoid going out with people, because I try not to inconvenience people a lot, in terms of fun, because Slu is tired now, Slu can't do this, Slu can't do that. So I think it's been quite a journey for me. Um and I just love the fact that I understand the battle, and I'm really, really trying also just to understand um the mental health illness, and also just getting information, and also just speaking about it. It also helps me a lot, as much as I'm trying to help people as well, to say, um you don't have to feel alone, you don't have to think we are not going through things. We are going through things. I know a lot of people look at me and say I'm strong. I don't really look at myself and see that, because most of the times I know where I would get overwhelmed and being unable to function, and I would just be in the house and not go anywhere, not do anything. And it's been hard the past months. It's been a month and weeks. It's been very hard. It's been very hard where I feel like the world is sitting on my shoulders, and I feel like I'm in a deep ocean and I'm just trying to swim out, and it's like I'm being pulled back. Um, and so the plan is the water exercise for the physical health. That's something that I'm going to try. And then definitely my GP, he told me that I need to go to therapy. Like I need to have a constant therapy. And that's the only thing that is going to help me, especially to avoid relapsing, because it's a different story having to go to therapy for a trauma that happened, that it's something that you can work on, and maybe like go through the pain and go through the trauma and survive it, and win. But now there is constant pain that I have to deal with. There's constant restriction and struggles that I have to do to deal with, and it is what it is. I'm gonna answer this last question. There's a friend of mine who asked me if I still pray for my health, or let me not say for my health, if I still pray for this specific physical health struggle. And my honest answer was that I don't. And sometimes when I pray, I'll be like, I'm praying for good health and whatnot, but I'm no longer like kind of like specific about it, because I feel like there is no different prayer that I would say than the prayer that have been said for the past 20 years. And sometimes we think God's purpose is us getting those jobs and getting those promotions. At some point in my journey, I had to sit down and ask myself, what if this is the journey that I had to walk? And if it's the journey that I have to walk, then I just need strength to walk the journey, because Job 42 is one of my favorite scripture, when he says, I know you can do all things and no purpose of yours can be withheld. Um, that scripture for me, it's just a scripture that is very simple in saying God can do anything. So what he didn't do, he doesn't want to do. Do I not believe in God as a healer? I do. I just feel like this is the journey that I have to walk, and I'm very willing to walk it. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to come out and tell you that it's not an easy journey. It's not easy to walk it. It's not nice. It's not nice not being able to put socks. It's not nice. It's just not nice. It's not nice. It's not nice at all. But it is a journey and it's life. We just need to go through it. So I always encourage people that you don't have to drown, and you don't have to tell everybody, but you must find somebody. You need to talk to someone. You need to get help for yourself. Like I say, there's a stigma around depression, and we just need to talk about it more. We just need to have more seminars so that people can learn, and it will be easy then going forward for people to come up, because we would understand. Also, people will just learn not because you are going through depression. You're just going to learn so that you can be able to identify when the slew around you is not okay, and then you'll be able to see the symptoms, and then you'll be able to assist the slew the best way you can at that point in time. um like I say, depression is being associated with being weak, with being someone who can't handle problems or challenges, or you are crazy and whatnot and whatnot. So I think we need to just have more of the conversation, um, having like professionals, teaching more. And I've been very happy because I've seen a lot of churches having this conversation, because it there was a time where I was in church. I was so broken that day. Oh my god, that day was so broken. I think the preacher said a whole lot of things about depression associated with weakness, demonic, and all those things. And he basically spoke about, basically, you go through it because you don't pray. And I don't blame him that much, but I blame him because the Bible says we just lack knowledge. We don't want to, like, we don't want to learn, because, like, how dare you. That day I was very broken because, like, from where to where am I safe if I'm not safe in the church? And then I think after the church, was it after or when I was going to church? Yeah, there's this other woman I met, and then she had a comment. So she was basically complimenting me for being beautiful and wearing a beautiful dress. But then her comment had a but lomlenze, but this leg. I'm like, couldn't she just say you're beautiful, and then we leave it at that? So I think also I'm very grateful that churches are having this conversation, and then we need to have this conversation a lot. And then also, I just want people to also understand that as much as we all have choices, but some of us choices are limited. So certain topics we can just avoid them. Avoid the having babies topic, because sometimes the decision that we have to make, they are not easy, but we have to make them. Um, just for ourselves, and we don't make them because we want them, but we don't have a choice, but we have to make those decisions. And so sometimes it's very, very hard when people ask. I know most of the time people don't mean harm, it's because they want these beautiful things, they want you to have them, but I just can't. I don't think I'm gonna be able to take care of a child if I can't take care of myself. And this is just a struggle that I didn't choose. So it is what it is. So I think I'm gonna end here today. I will also have a video where I'll be talking about where I am spiritually, how has my health affected my spiritual life, and all those things. For now, I just want you guys to take care of yourself. I just want to ask you guys, don't be judgmental. People with depression, they are not crazy, they're not weak, they are just human beings who are being diagnosed. I feel like depression is an illness like you having diabetic, having blood pressure, having any other chronic. So is depression. So please take care of yourself, take care of your kids, take care of your loved one, take care of your friends. Let's just learn more. and it's going to be easy for us to actually assist people around us. Let's have more of conversations even around our kids regarding this monster. um I pray for you guys. I pray for strength. I pray for acceptance. um because it's one of the biggest thing to accept. If you are being diagnosed with depression or any other mental illness, you just accept it, and with accepting it, it makes it very kind of like easy for you to maneuver the situation, because you become honest with yourself. When you are not okay, you know that you're not okay, and then you're able to tell people like, "Guguti, you know what, guys, you guys pray, because I'm at a point where I can't even pray for myself because I'm back to a dark place." I think everyone who suffers from depression knows this. Every time you are in that dark space, you promise yourself never to go back there, and then you find yourself there, you know and then you still find yourself there, and you still fight and promise yourself that I'm not going to go back to this dark space or place, because it's not nice when you are in that dark space. It's very not nice, but it is life. And there's this scripture in the Bible where people were asking Jesus who sinned for the child to have that. No one sinned, you know because also we have issues. Some of black people or black families, they think if one has a child that has disability, then there's something that one has done. No one has sinned, guys. It's just a journey, and we are going to be different. We are not going to be the same. We are going to be different. We're going to have people with sicknesses, we're going to have disabilities, we're going to have all these things. We just need to love each other, respect each other, learn a lot about all these things, so that we can be able to treat each other with kindness, be able to treat each other with love. There's one psychologist that one told me that if someone is suicidal, you guys have a right to take that person to the hospital or anywhere where they can be admitted. Their consent is not important at that point in time, because they are the dangers to themselves. So personally, I'm always been grateful to God for carrying me even in the darkest days, in that I haven't reached that point where I'm ready to end it all. I do reach a point where I feel like, no, God, take me now, because this is beyond the strength that I have. But I'm very grateful, and I know that there are people that prays for me every day. That's why even on my lowest way, I can't even utter a word to God. I get the strength, and I know it's because there are people who just don't forget my name when they're speaking to God, because they understand and they know that I need strength to actually like pull through. And also, people also don't understand that when I speak about these things, it's not because I'm the strongest person on earth, but I just speak about them because I just had that thing, Yoguti, okay, if this is the journey, at least let me help someone else, because I didn't have anyone to help me go through the journey. I had to maneuver alone as a teenage girl until today, where I'm 34, and I had to find help for myself. So it's just that pattern for me, Guti. People should leave, depression shouldn't conquer. I don't want to lose young people over this depression thing. If we die, we should die because of some other things, but not depression. So thank you so much, guys. I'll appreciate that you like the YouTube page, you subscribe, and you leave a comment, you know, because sometimes your words that you say to me, they really, really encourage me to hold on. Sometimes I read comments that you wrote to me many, many years ago, and then they give me strength. So thank you so much. Just take care of yourself, take care of those around you. Till we meet again on the next video. Thank you.